really care if you've got a job right now or not, that you're teaching martial arts. I said, well, they don't care at all. He says, how big is it a deal what my job is to you? I said, Phil, I could care less what you do. I'm just interested in the martial arts. And I didn't want to ask what he did. We didn't ask Phil many questions. He says, it doesn't matter at all, does it? I said, no, I guess it doesn't. He says, get yourself together, Lou. Go in there and teach martial arts. So the point is, we got to sometimes get ourselves together. Dennis was the best example I could ever find for you to show you the right attitude to going at a job. Okay? I will say for you that we are based on these three things, and I didn't learn this until 1992. We are based on these three things. I kind of did that one circle for you before. I'm going to give you another circle here. And this one breaks into thirds. We are a mind, a body, and a spirit. It looks like, can you see that? Is that clear? What happens is we run around in life like this. Especially when we lose our job. Looks like that. You get that? Okay, don't lose focus on the other pieces. I'll give you one more example, and I'm watching my time before I leave. This year, within this year, I hired a sales guy. His name was Dan. And clearly, like Bob, make me some money. Okay, that's why I'm hiring you as a salesperson. Fair enough? Why would I hire him for any other reason? So Dan, I had met Dan because, listen to this, he actually put my utility room together. And my utility room is actually next to my house. It's in my house, next to my office. And I heard how he interacted with my next door neighbor who was out of work. And I was so impressed. I said, we should go to lunch together. We got to lunch together. I said, so what have you been doing? And he tells me I'm trying to do my own business and I'm not doing very well with it. I said, how would you like to work for me? I said, I can show you the process on how we do sales. I go back to Bennett Santana and show you the process on how we're going to do this. He says, that'd be great, Lou. And basically he was saying, I have nothing else to do. I have no other options, so yeah, I'm going to come to work with him. Within 5 months, by the way, Dan's full-time job was with me at ARS Technology, and he had this little part-time job at a place called Max McGraw, right at 25 and 90, doing maintenance work, okay? So, but Dan's got a great personality, and I showed him how to sell, and we started the process, and he starts in December, and in January, I get this, we talked about Michael Jordan. I happen to be one of Michael Jordan sports card collectors, one of the all-time, experts in that. I've been written up in books, more geekiness to myself, I guess. When you're written up in books about cards, you're an official geek. So there turns out that there's this 25-year-old millionaire in New York who went to the Wharton Business School of Law. At 22, he graduated, started a business, hired 100 people, made money off them, and Google bought his business for $20 million. Well, he sees my geekiness in these card books, and he calls me, and he ends up buying $125,000 worth of cards from me, and only about 10 cards that I bought in 2008 for about, 10 grand. And Dan's watching all of this. Dan, by the way, is not a Christian. He's not interested in his spirit at all. His wife has all kinds of diseases. His 3 kids are way overweight. And he's watching this transpire, and he goes, Lou, what church are you going to? Now, Dan, fast forwarding, he's going to church, a good church. Okay, there are some ones that me and my wife have walked in and said, get the hell out of here. And then his wife now is healed of all of her diseases. She's reading the Bible for the first time in her life. His 3 kids are in my martial art class, and believe me, I'm taking the weight off of them. Okay, and Dan ended up 5 months into our job getting a full-time, the guy retired who was the maintenance guy there at Max McGraw. They offered him the full-time position. They said, you've been doing a great job on the weekends. And I said, Dan, look, I've hired hundreds of people. I said, tell me what they're offering you, and I'll tell you if it makes sense. They told me what they're offering him. I said, leave me now. Don't give me 2 weeks' notice. Go take that, you and your family, and enjoy the rest of your life. And Dan moved on. I thought Dan was supposed to be there for me. I hired him for me. But that's not always the way it works. I was really there for him. And what I'm sharing with you is that I would be happy for some of you, because my time has run out, to give you my phone number. And I'm not so unapproachable. I am pretty direct. There it is. There. Can you see it? Let me do this. 630-673-0780. I'd be happy to share or talk with you more. I know this is an extremely difficult time period for you. I think do we have time for a couple of questions? Okay. Yeah. One thing I want to say is, before you raise your hand, just tell me what your name is, because Hi, Carol. Caroline? Carolyn. What is the 8th way to make money? Let me see. Okay. Bruce Bloom, can you raise your hand? I can thank Bruce Bloom for giving us these 8 ways right there, because these are his DeVry students that he would have me come out and teach. Okay, number 1 is work hard, winning a lawsuit, winning when betting the odds, lotto, poker, gambling, inherit, invest right. That's the one I think we missed. Invest right. Let's invest in housing. What a wonderful investment that's going to be. That's investing right, right? The housing market never goes down. It was good for 40 years. Let's invest in stock. Hey, let's invest in very difficult to find Michael Jordan cards that some crazy millionaire in New York is going to want to buy from me. Believe me, when I started the job, how I started my job in 1992 with ARS Technology is I sold my baseball card collection. I had original Babe Ruths. I had a 1915 Ty Cobb. For those of you who are guys, you're probably cringing right now if you ever had that kind of interest. I had tons of Mickey Mantles. I had all of Hank Aaron's cards, all of Pete Rose cards, and I had to give it away because I had a wife and a child. My wife was a widow. I didn't kill the husband, just for clarity. I was, you ever seen Jerry Maguire? How the guy kind of comes in and he has a better relationship almost with the kid than the wife. That was kind of like me back then. I was 40 and I'd come home from martial arts and I'd be all sweated out. The kid would be like, "You look like you're pretty sweaty." Yeah, I was pretty sweaty. And I'd hang out with the kid and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take the wife too." So Romeo got lucky and got 2 Juliets. But the point is I had to sell the baseball cards and because I wanted to be debt-free when I started my endeavor. And what I started to do then is I said, if I have to get rid of somebody, who can I not get rid of out of my card collection? It was Michael Jordan. So I kept Michael Jordan. I started buying some of his more difficult cards. And next thing you know, it worked out okay for me. Okay, so that was the one I think we missed. Investing right. Okay, investing in gold when it was 300. Now it's way up. Finding a treasure and creativity. McDonald's, Microsoft. God, by the way, I think he's pretty creative. Let there be light. Okay, that worked out pretty well. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for asking that, Carolyn. Carol, anybody else? I'm just curious if I can kind of scan the room, and it doesn't have to be anyone. Please feel free to be okay with yourself and share something with me. What did you learn from today? Was there anything like back there in the corner? Everything I said. That's wonderful. If I could just get my wife to listen to anything I say. You could stop the recording, Orlando, at that point right there if you could edit that out. Anybody else? I kind of like the back of the room. That used to be me. Go ahead, no, right here. What's your name? Dennis.
I thought one thing that's a great foundation is know your target, identify what you want. If you don't know where you're going, it all.
Yeah, I want to even add to that just briefly. I'm going to get to you in a second. Let me use ARS Technology as an example. I was 9 months into the business. This business, I had no idea what to do and how to run. And I had about 20 customers, but my pocket wasn't getting any fatter. And I was wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why am I getting more customers, but my pocket's not getting fatter? And I did what's called the 80-20 principle, or the Pareto principle, which is I looked at my 20% of my clients bring in 80% of my revenue. 3 of my clients were somebody, I'm using Mark, 3 days a week, they were using it for 8 hours a day. The rest of them were just kind of sporadic IT problems. And I started to research those 3 companies. I used Reference USA to find that. It's like a Hoover's. And once I used Reference USA and I put those 3 companies side by side, I realized they were all companies that had 20 to 50 computers. And that was my target, to your point, Dennis. And once I got that target, anybody who said, well, for example, yesterday somebody said, Lou, they got 10 computers. I said, that's too small for us. I could refer you to someone else. And they said, Lou, we're 150 computers. It might be too big for us. And 50 to 100 computers has one IT person, but that one IT person goes on vacation. And the CFO sometimes feels handcuffed. Bob's the CFO. He feels handcuffed because this one IT person says, it's my 57 Chevy, nobody touches my technology. Everybody, you have to be naked to touch it. Yeah. Right back there. What's your name? Hey, Josh. Okay. Let your customers work for you. How do you do that? I haven't done it yet, so I'm... My customers work for me. Self-checkout line, okay. I like that. Okay, we can add that. That's good. All right. That's how I get these answers on what's the extra ways. Let your customers work for you. One way I will say that customers do work for you, to go along with what Josh is talking about, is if you're good, they'll refer you. If you're good, they'll refer you. Like, nobody really refers me as going, actually, I think when my clients refer me, they like put a warning, like a cigarette thing. They're like, well, if you're going to hire Lou, he's going to be like really honest with you. You know, they don't say that he's going to be the best, wonderful guy you're going to see. They're like, he's going to be real honest. So be careful about that honesty. But that's good. Anybody else? Somebody else learned something that was a real value. What's your name right there? I'm looking right at you. You're turning around. Yep. Steve. Good. Yeah, that is the most important part on a resume, is showing your value when you're putting those bullet points together. If you don't show value, it's just like those other signs. I helped 4 people manage their job. What does that mean? Why did they give you that position? Why did they let you do that? So, okay. Nancy, I think, has got some things to talk about.
Yep.
Jump in.
Thank you again, and good job.
Appreciate your help.
Okay, a few announcements, a few last-minute announcements. If you have not picked up a name tag for yourself,